one down in Bucksport, and now he is working for the Allied Alliance of American Manufacturing. If I get it right. I work at NewPage, and I also do some other things. I do some union work, and I do some things like this now and then. First off, I'd like to thank all of you for giving us the opportunity to be here today, and I'm going to keep this very short. This is not real controversial. It's not partisan. It's not Republican, Democrat. It's not hourly versus salary or anything like that. We've had success. Each town we've gone to so far has jumped on board with this. We've done this at Dixfield, Mexico, Rumford, and Canton, and Skowhegan, I believe. And all of them have got on board. When you hear what it's really about, I think you agree that it's not controversial, and I think it's for the good of your town. The other thing I want to make sure you understand right up front is we're not asking for much. We don't want any money, which is unusual probably, and we're also not going to ask you to do anything with the resolution should you vote to sign the resolution. We'll take care of that for you. We'll get it in front of all the proper authorities. We're going to deliver a whole bunch of these at one time. We're going to try to make an impact. We also have a lot of people in the mills, the hourly workers and the salary workers are all joined together, and they're signing letters. We're writing to all our congressional delegation. I have some paperwork. If you don't have it, I think you do have it in your hand. The Senate, both senators are in favor of what we're doing, and both representatives, Mike Michaud and Pingree, are both behind what we're doing. And the subject that we're talking about here is the illegal, and I want to stress the illegal dumping of paper. We're not against trade. We're against illegal trade. We want fair trade, not just free trade. And what's going on is the Chinese and the Indonesian government are dumping their paper on America. And dumping, what that really means is they're putting it here below their cost. It's not that it's below our cost, it's below their cost. And the reason they do that is they're trying to capture the American market. They've done this with tires, they've done it with steel, they do it with glass. And we've had some success in going to the government agencies, the proper ones, and doing something about it. But what we want is a grassroots effort. We have our employees in our mills working on this. We've gone to the towns are getting behind it. We're talking to area legislators. We're doing something at the state level, and we're doing this at the federal level. The two organizations that have jurisdiction over this is the Department of Commerce and the International Trade Commission. And what they can do to help us, once we prove that it is illegal and that there are damages, there's two things to prove, is they can put on duties, tariffs. And we've proven that this works because we've already won a small portion of that. The Department of Commerce has already looked at part of it. There's a dumping one, which means it's coming in below cost. There's an anti-dumping duty that is being installed, and there's also a subsidy one. The other way that the government gets around getting the paper over here cheaply is the Chinese or Indonesian government will supply the goods for them, the energy, the timber, the chemicals. They won't enforce the environmental rules if they have any. And so the subsidies are one thing that's called countervailing duties. So there's two different types of duties we can have put on, and one of them we already have some being put on. They found that China, they've imposed a tariff on China of nearly 14% on their paper for the type of paper we're talking about. They've already put that duty on. And they also put a 4% tariff on Indonesia. And what that does is it brings the price of the paper up enough that we can compete with it. And it's not just us at our mill and Mr. Lawson's mill, the IP mill. If they find that we can put duties on the product that we're talking about, which is fairly specific, what they'll do is they'll start making another product. And next thing you know, they're moving into another market, another paper mill in Maine. The Maine paper mills employ a lot of people, support a lot of people in the community, and they pay a lot of taxes throughout the state. So we need them to stay. It's not just for the workers in the mill. We've gone through some hard times. We had a lot of layoffs last year, over 100, and we can survive some of that. But our towns suffer, our school departments suffer when we go through this. Now down here in Turner, I ran some figures that I was able to get. You have 30 mil employees that live in this town. Of those 30 mil employees, many of them are salary, they make a good living, and even the hourly people there make a good living because they work quite a bit of overtime, so either one of them makes a good living. Now when you look at what they make, if you round it up to what they get with benefits, we're talking about $100,000 apiece probably with all the benefits. They work a lot of overtime. So if you multiply that all out, that's about $3 million they bring back to this community. And out of the 30 people, that's probably around 120 members and member families. And these are people in your towns, in your schools, and they're supporting your businesses, and we'd like to see that continue. The other thing that it's a general acceptance is that the dollar that they earn turns over 4 to 5 times. So I'll use 5 because it's easier on my math. So if you look at that $3 million that they bring to town, multiply that by 5, by the way it spreads out throughout the community, that's $15 million that they have available to spend in your town. Plus I know I go down to Lewiston from Dixfield quite a bit, and I'm often stopping at these stores getting gas and everything else. So there's a lot of different ways that this mill, this far away, 35 miles or whatever it is away, helps to support the community. And what we're saying is, we just want some consideration. We think that if we can get your help to sign these resolutions, we'll take care of it from there. And we're going to do everything we can to get the proper tariffs and duties put on the Chinese paper. We want to keep the business in America and in Maine. We want to keep our people working. Our people do not like going on welfare and collecting off the town. They'd rather pay their taxes to the town. See if I skipped anything. We do have some challenges ahead. Some of the simple challenges is enforcement. We're going to stay on them. We have to make sure that our government stays on this. They put one small tariff on, there should be more. And then there's the duration. The tariffs can stay on as long as 5 years, then it gets reassessed, and if China or Indonesia hasn't changed what they're doing, then they'll renew it and keep the tariffs on again. Another challenge we have is, if you've noticed, China owns a lot of American debt. They're going to put political pressure on. And so we're going to have to stay on top of this, and we plan to. Now the resolution that is before you that's been proposed has 2 parts to it, and I don't know how familiar you are with them. When you read the first page and a half, it's a whole bunch of whereas. That's the argument. That's the reasons we want it to pass. They're like facts. So the whereas are the reasons we want something to happen, and then most of the way through the second page is the resolve. The resolve is what we want to do about it. The most critical part on that resolution is number 4, and that's where we're asking you to sign it, if you would, and we're asking the state and federal legislators to do something about it. And what we're asking them to do is get the tariffs on so that the main companies can compete and we can all keep working. Other than that, I'll take any questions if you have them. I'd really like to thank you for your time. I'm not from your town, but we have at least one person in the audience that is, and the one that set it up, Dale Austin, he also works in our mill. So I thank you for letting us speak. I really appreciate it. Any questions?
Pretty straightforward to me.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
You?